Hi, this is Dan Crawford at WPOV Global.
Wrestle POV Global Black and Yellow brand. It's your point of view on a global stand. From north to south to east to west, they got you covered like a blanket. But I digress from elite to the hot topic. AEW Impact New Japan, they got it. Have you laughing so hard, have your belly aching? Heard any different? I'm sure you're mistaken.
Hey, boys and girls, welcome back to another edition of WPOV Global. I'm your host, the legend T. James Logan. With me, my illustrious crew of the gentleman Elio Canella. Elio, how's it going, my friend?
I'm doing great.
Yeah, it's good. Did you have a good time tonight?
Yep.
We watched a pretty interesting Dynamite,
really
I'm going to say that.
A lot of great wrestling tonight.
And how was your week? Have you done anything cool?
No, basically,
Sat home, looked at a wall?
yeah, that's about it. Pretty much.
Bad in wrestling?
Just talked to my brother, because apparently he's sick too.
That guy's cool. What happened to you, Elliot? No, anyways.
It's like twins with Arnold Schwarzenegger.
He gets the coolest from me.
What's that?
He gets the coolness from me.
Well, then he must have took it all, because I'm not seeing where your coolness is anymore. Joe's the man. Joe's the man. Tell him we said that. Anyways.
Why should we tell him? He's probably listening.
Yeah, he's probably listening. Joe, you're the man.
He's sick in bed. He's got the COVID.
Well, he's sick in bed. He's got nothing else to do. Then he should be listening.
He should be listening. I know. I'll have a word with him.
All right.
I read on the internet that listening to WPOV Global helps COVID. So
I did hear that. I did hear that.
COVID. Yeah.
It has a higher success rate than 3 of the vaccines, I do believe.
Yeah.
Speaking about a cure for COVID, we're talking about the lone wolf, Andy Anderson. Watching this guy's matches not only will cure you of COVID, but will help you sleep right at night.
Absolutely.
Andy, how are you doing, baby? It's good to see you.
Absolutely. It's one thing to experience it live, but when you're watching on tape, it's good for what ails you, especially insomnia.
No, that's not fair. But in all fairness, it is kind of hard sometimes watching indie wrestling on video. It's just definitely not the same as watching full blown. They just don't have the budget. Anyways, Andy, how was your week, brother?
Just plugging along, doing what I usually do. Taking care of business. That's what I get paid the big bucks for.
Well, not only that, but I mean, come on, the PPV points champion, the champ has come back to quarantine.
Well, what's the saying? The champ is here. Yeah,
yes.
Well, it's good to kind of keep it close to home, and I know you guys appreciate that. So.
Oh, God.
Okay, here we go. And I got to ask 1 second. Have you felt anything weird in the air, Andy? Like maybe you got I don't know, psychic knives being stabbed in the back or anything like that?
For the old school. I mean, they don't have any more. I mean, there used to be with the quads. Before the quads, there was the trikes, the 3-wheelers. And those were cool. They were a little bit dangerous, but they worked pretty well. And that's kind of how we roll as the WPOV Global. So right now, it's almost like we kind of have like a fourth wheel that doesn't really belong.
Wow.
Oh, hey, Rick, how you doing?
Oh, hey. So you're trying to say that I'm the broken wheel on the shopping cart?
Hold on.
What you're trying to do?
No.
Disrespecting me?
No. You calm down, Ric Serrano. He made a good point. You were something before, and now you're yesterday's news, and he's the champ, and you are, and I believe the word is former.
All right, you're right. You're right. It's been a while. It's been a while since I've had the title.
A long time, very much.
Well, let's not forget, I'm the first ever everything, okay? And I won't go through the whole spiel, but I am Mr. First Ever.
Aren't we trying to cut down the timing of this show?
That's right.
We are.
And it's pretty easy to be. It's easy to be the first when there's only 3 people playing.
Damn.
Wait, we're not going to fight. I have no vested interest in this. You guys figure out your crap in the back end.
Andy Anderson.
Cool. Have at her, pal.
I will.
Anyways, Ric Serrano III, today's fourth wheel. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, guys. I love being here with you guys.
Andy, that is brilliant. Trikes and quads, loving it, dude. Right off the top of your head.
It's very, very Alberta.
right? No one else knows what the hell we're talking about, but we know.
Yeah.
Anyways, guys, welcome to the show. We got interesting stuff to look at. We have a whole bunch of cool topics to talk about tonight, and I'm very excited to get into, I can't believe this, 2 weeks in a row where I was impressed with AEW Dynamite. And we're going to get into that tonight, okay? But let's start off, first of all, I want to start off with hot topics, okay? And look at our hot topics. We have 2 this week, 2 very interesting ones, very different. The very first one, oh man, I can't believe this one. The IWGP title. Now, just recently, IWGP has taken their heavyweight championship and they've merged it with their Intercontinental Championship, which they're now calling the IWGP World Championship. Now, it's important to note, while this is the 4th iteration of the IWGP Championship belt, this is the first time they've tacked the word world into it, okay? So I don't know if technically that would make it a 4th. Does that make it a brand new category? I just actually thought of that. You know, it's a world title now. It's no longer just the IWGP title. But anyways, I like belts, okay? My thing in the old days is I used to laugh. Do you guys remember when they showed the old belts from like the 50s and 60s and they look like a weird-ass belt buckle attached to a giant belt? And then we started the evolution where we started getting flatter plates, rounder plates, bigger plates. We've had some of the ridiculous ones where they're like half the size of Andre the Giant to like the tiny ones that weren't that big. However, I have always loved the design of either the round or the oblong thing. And I used to mock the Divas one. Do you guys remember the Divas belt, the butterfly belt?
Butterfly.
Yeah. Now, the new IWGP title, when I saw the picture of this, originally Rick sent it to me first, okay, on our thing. And he'd also put up a picture. It wasn't a picture. It was actually a little video of Asuka and Matt Riddle. Yeah. But the picture was frozen on Asuka. So I see Asuka, and then I see him saying, hey, it was something about this belt. To be honest, guys, I assumed it right off the bat that it was a tag team women's belt or something like that they created. So I'm like, oh, whatever. And then I kind of reread it, and I'm like, wait a minute. And then I look at it and I go, holy, that's the IWGP. Oh, my goodness. To me, guys, this is one ugly design. I don't like it. It looks so cheesy ass. And then I asked my wife, who's very impartial on a lot of this stuff. I said, honey, what do you think of this belt? And she said, it's really effeminate. You know, and I think that's the problem with it. I mean, I equated it to the butterfly belt. It just is a goofy ass looking, very female centric design that as a gritty IWGP champion, not sure that's the kind of belt that I want to be handed after a brutal 1 hour match with Okada. Yay! So that was the question out there. We asked the fans what they thought. I want to quickly go around and see what you people think. First of all, let's start off with Elio. Elio, you've seen this design of this belt. What is your opinion? Do you like it?
It was atrocious.
Atrocious. I'm going to go with you didn't like it. Okay. Why do you find it atrocious?
Just like you just said, the design. It reminds me of the Butterfly Championship, the Divas Championship. So
excellent.
And looking at it now, it looks like they took the Transformer emblem and painted it gold and put it on the belt.
Stole my shtick.
Well, Andy, why don't you finish the shtick? What are you feeling on this belt?
My original thought when you guys first sent it in the group chat was, butterfly belt. And I'm looking at it and I'm trying to be like, okay, like try to be positive. Like, what else does it look like? What else does it look like? And I'm like, I can see like what's the Autobots? Is that the Autobots? Yeah. And to me, it was like if an Autobot had a relationship with the butterfly belt. This is the love child.
Oh Lord.
That's what I see. So I mean, I'm not a big belt guy. You know, it's cool. It's not. It doesn't really do anything for me. And unfortunately, I think the shape is just too much butterfly for me.
All right, Rick.
Yeah, you know, you keep saying the word belt, and you know what? That's exactly what it is. It's just a belt. It doesn't ring championship. It doesn't ring title. You know, it's just a belt with a big buckle on it. That's what I get. It looks like Texas or something like that, a Texas belt buckle. It does not look like something a major champion should be holding, especially if you're fighting, like you said, for an hour long for a match. You get handed this belt. It's just like, no, I'm not for it.
Japanese rodeo belt.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, this is the kind of belts we used to see when it'd be like the Internet Championship or the Cincinnati like some little cheesy company has put a belt together and they put this weird design to try and stand out because their name's not enough. But this is the IWGP. You don't need some crappy, weird-ass design. You have this rich history behind you. I'm not cool with it.
I'll tell you right now, TNT title over this one, for sure.
The TNT belt's pretty shitty to begin with.
Yeah, you're right, unfortunately. Yeah.
Now, this is the part that scares me, guys. This so scares me.
Uh-oh.
We sent this out to the fans, okay? We gave them the options of like, love, or hate. Well, it's pretty obvious the four of us hate this belt design, right?
Yes.
Are you guys ready for these numbers? 69% said they liked it, with an additional 15.5% saying they loved it. That means we have 84.5% of the fans think this is an acceptable belt. Maybe we're just too old, guys. What the hell?
Well, wait. You're right.
They want some more of it.
You're right. You said you're two old guys. Two. Me and Elio are the young guys of the show. Okay.
Yeah, and yet you agree with us. Yeah, tail coder. Why don't you grab on the back and enjoy the ride? Oh. Well, look at this. He's trying to draw battle lines, Andy. This guy is just spoiling for a fight with you.
Yeah, he is.
You think he would have got used to losing once already?
Fortunately, one of us here is a professional, so it's okay. So we'll just.
Lord.
Shots fired. All right. So, fans, I believe, Rick, could you finish the sentence for me? After reading all of these, I find this very interesting.
But stupid.
Thank you. All right, moving on.
Can we look at these comments?
There were comments on the. There was two. Okay, yes.
Yeah, Chachi Martinez, and I love this. He says, "I bet that belt gets bullied in school." That's a home run right there. Good on you.
And basically, we have Kyle Hart saying, "I hate it. I love the old belts. I loved the design. I will miss the old belts design." The old belt. Yeah. It's funny too. If you guys take a chance to Google back and look at the old belt, it's a little bit unremarkable, but at the same time, it's also has its own majesty in it. So
is it kind of like classic? Would you say kind of like classic kind of feel to it? Or?
I would say more nouveau classic. It looked like they took the belts from the 80s and tried to do a little bit of an upgrade with the font. It has a thicker IWGP, which is newer looking, but the old school design in it. So they tried a little bit of an upgrade, I think. And bear in mind, you guys have asked me, this is actually the fourth design for this belt. Okay.
Fourth generation.
All right. So moving on to our next one. This one is an interesting one. Tony Kahn recently has been making slight appearances on the television show. He's become a character. A lot more on Dark, but slowly it's bleeding in to Dynamite. And it's just on the tip of it now, making a big appearance. He just had little stuff. He's showing up on Impact as a character with Tony Schiavone, and he's done a lot of Dark stuff. The question was, should he be an on-air character? Now, before we get into this, I want to go back in time when AEW started and they compared themselves to what would be different from WWE. One of the questions that was asked is, would he ever become an on-air character? And he stated emphatically that he would not become an on-air thing. He wanted to be different. He didn't feel like he needed to be on there. Well, forward a year, and he's slowly been creeping in on promos and doing a lot more. And some people can say this is just a big ego stroke. Some people say, well, he was a big mark going in. This is just him enjoying the markdom of it. So here's the question is, and I'm going to answer this one last because I've been really formulating my answer. Should Tony Khan be an on-air character? And I'm going to start off with Elio. Elio? Just because you paused your mic. I'm gonna. Oh, wait a second. Let's give Elio a second here. Let's move over to Andy. Andy, should Tony Khan be an on-air character?
I'm gonna say no.
Okay,
and I'll give you a couple reasons. One, I do seem to recall something along those lines of him saying, like, yeah, no, like this is about the talent. Like, I don't need to be, on our character. Second of all, just his presence and his look. To me, doesn't that
Scream billionaire.
Well, no, yeah, I'm not saying billionaire because that's not like I actually like respect that. I mean, he is kind of like casual looking like that, but for the to me, like what you need, like how to the aura, the personality, the way to carry yourself with an on-air kind of like that role. If he's going to be the boss or the manager, whatever that authority role, from what I've seen, I just don't buy it. Like to me, it's kind of just goofy, not serious. Like you think back, and maybe this is just me being old school, but you look at how Vince was. You look at even like how Eric Bischoff. I mean, even though he was kind of like business casual in the early 2000s, but there was still something to me, like just the way he carried himself, that garnered more respect than what I'm seeing out of Tony Kahn. Like he just feels. I don't want to say. Well, I'm not. I mean, I don't want to say it yet. I'm going to. Kind of like goofy or dopey. Like I don't take him seriously. And I mean, if they want to bring in an authority role, because you know what, you often need that. Fine, but it's not, to me. It shouldn't be Cody Rhodes. It shouldn't be. Definitely shouldn't be Tony Khan.
Okay, fair enough. Rick,
does AEW need an authority figure? Absolutely, I agree. I think they do need that. Should it be Tony Khan? No. Tony Khan showed us in that terrible promo, you made a promise, you're going to have this match, you made a promise, you're going to give it to him, you're going to give it to him right now. Like, bro, like Andy said, goofy, dopey, all those 7 dwarfs, all in one. That's what you got with Tony Khan. But at the end of the day, you know what? I may be on the lonely island with this one. Don Callis would be perfect for that role as general manager. I'm just saying.
Elio, can you eject Rick? He's broken the Don Callis rule.
I'm sorry. Okay. He fits the mold.
We have a no Don Callis rule here.
Yes, I thought we did.
Lucky I was taking a drink and I had my mic muted when we were saying that.
Yes. He's cleaning the spit off his calendar now. I can't believe you said that. All right. Elio.
I think there should be an on-air authority figure. I don't think it should be Tony Khan. I mean, I saw the promo he did on AEW Elevation, I think it was, when he came out and he said he promised you would give him the match.
That was very rough, yeah.
Just the way he presented himself, it's like I can't take him seriously. That was awful. And he even said that he would never want to be an on-air authority figure. So
okay. So it's kind of going, okay, you know what, guys? I've been really thinking about this a lot. I'm not going to try and be as insulting as I thought this would almost come across as. No, I mean, in the fact, I was going to say, why the hell not? I mean, he's this billionaire dude who's paying a bunch of indie guys to do billionaire stuff. Yeah. Why not? I mean, if I had the money, I'd make myself the star of the show if I owned the thing. Why not? Isn't everyone's dream to go out and have the crowd look at you? I mean, Andy, isn't that why you became a wrestler? So you could have the spotlight at one time, right? I mean,
to some degree, yeah.
Yeah. So if you owned it, when you want to, hey, I own this fucking thing. Look at me. Why not? At the same time,
if you're going to be the guy that says our company's going to be different, I'm not going to do this. Yes. There's already weekly we're getting examples of how they're more and more like WWE, whether or not people want to admit it or not. Yeah. And to have him do that's right up there with whatever Cody and the Mrs. show, whatever.
Yeah.
whatever the Ms. and Mrs. show is called.
You guys make a super good point, though. Okay, or what is it called? Something keeping with the roads or
roads to the top.
Roads to the top. Okay. So now here is, you guys have swayed me in the one fact is this. In one fact, I can get the fact. You're a rich dude. You can do what the hell you want. You paid for this show. When you're giving me people who are totally not even ready for television, like Caesar Bononi and the Best Friends, time all the time, you can do whatever the hell you want. You own it, right? But you guys made a super good point. And the fact is, if you're going to own it, if you're going to do this, there's an old saying that says, either shit or get off the pot, right? Because if you're going to do it, don't half-ass it, all right? Yep. If Eric Bischoff, who's a small, scrawny guy with a very punchable face can project himself as an authority figure, well, Tony Khan, go take some goddamn acting classes. You're rich enough, and show us that you can be an authority figure. Show us you can portray that you're a boss. Because right now you're coming across as a goofy dude who's like, oh yeah, this is my dad owns all this, so I can do what I want. And that's exactly what you look like with your bad acting and your just the way you present yourself. You want to be the character? Well, be the character. Okay?
Yeah.
Wrestlers want to be wrestlers. Well, they train and they work at it and they look good, and that's how they get on TV. You want to be on TV? Fine. You own it. You got the chance. Well, get some goddamn acting classes and show people that you can be the character you're dreaming of, because that's what you are. You're dreaming of a character. You want to portray it? Well, work at it and give us something that's not just half-ass garbage.
Right.
So should he be on TV? Yes. In this iteration? No. I don't find it interesting, or I just don't pat you guys right. It doesn't work for him. Okay. Now, can I
just make one other quick little point?
Go ahead.
I think I've only watched one or two of the Impact promos when they first came out, but even standing next to Tony Schiavone, to me, he seems like Tony's. I mean, and Tony's got the advantage of having been around, for what, 30, 40 years. But even standing next to Tony, he just strikes me as like a wrestling fan that's just there.
And you know what? If you can't project, and look at this, guys, because he can't even do this properly. If you can't project that you're an authority figure, project that you're the bored rich kid who owns something and go all the way with it. And that would work too. But this half-assing it, you care, but you're not care enough. It's just not working. All right. Now, here's the weird part. Once again, the fans, 61% of the fans polled said yes, he should be an on-air character. Well, 39% said no. And when I look through some of these comments, we have one that sticks out to me. And it's sort of weird when people make these comments because I'm not sure really what they really are going for here. But we have a guy by the name of Maston Mullins who says, maybe, but I have more respect for him than I do for Vince McMahon. Now, the reason that bothers me is because, one, this had nothing to do with that. But two, you're not really kind of clear. It's just like you're taking this as a shot at Vince McMahon. I'm not sure how that really fits into what you're trying to say. Maybe if you're being a little more Maston, maybe if you write back in and tell me a little bit more what you mean by that comment, or if that's just an offhand shot at Vince McMahon because you don't like him. Okay? Jeff Moe says, having the occasional authority figure is a good thing. Jack Tunney did it with the old WWF really well. Well, you guys are right. Right now, AEW, it's like the Wild West half the time. Yeah. Nothing is connected. So much crap's going on. Maybe it would be good to have somebody with authority step in and make solid matches.
What if now, maybe this is crazy, but what if they got JR off of commentary and put him in that role?
Why not? No, why not?
I thought about that a couple of minutes ago, and I'm like, no, I'll just keep that one to myself. But it's interesting you brought that up.
Yeah.
No, I think that's a tremendous idea. Let's face it, JR isn't really carrying the bulk of the commentating anyways right now. And he's done this role before. Why not?
Yeah.
See, the other thing I was thinking is if there ends up being some merger down the road or something goes along with Impact, I would almost look to a Scott D'Amore or a D'Lo Brown to be authority figure.
I like that.
If you were to say Don Callis, man, I would have been broken. I know you wouldn't, though, Andy. I know you better than that. Although we'll have a disagreement about Don Callis later on in the show, I'm pretty darn sure.
Fair
enough. Is there any other comments you guys want to take a look at here? Let's see. Stephen Hall says, pushed. Oh, wait, rather the wrong one. Okay. He seems like a cool guy. I'd like to see more of him, says Mike. Caps. Really, Mike? You don't have enough Weasley friends somewhere in your life? You need to see more of this guy?
When he got money, that's the coolest friend you can have.
That is true.
Here. Devin Ramkelwan says, yeah, more of him, less Cody.
Oh, I think anyone would agree with that.
Yeah.
What else we got? Guy Wedgesheed said he's good behind the scenes with an occasional on-screen appearance. I'm thinking a lot less on-screen appearance, but to each his own. So, folks, once again, I guess if you guys are digging it and buying it, okay. We may not agree with you, but it seems more of you think that Tony Khan has a lot to offer into this. So let's go with Tony Khan, all right? Next, we come to probably the stupidest segment that I've ever seen in the history of this show. The stupidest idea. This would be like saying, is water wet? Okay. Is the desert dry? Okay. Is Tay Conti elite or delete? All right. Let's start off with our good friend Elio. Elio, is Tay Conti
elite?
Elite.
She
and
is
why?
elite.
And
I
why
like
is she
everything
elite?
about her.
Okay, fair enough.
I like her in-ring skills. So just her presence. Yeah, I'm gonna go with elite.
Elite. All right, Andy.
You know what? I'm going to vote elite, but I'm going to defer my time on this to you because I'm sure you're going to go on for a while.
Yeah, TJ
So
sitting on cloud 9. Go ahead.
Okay, Rick.
I'm going to keep it short and simple. I'm going to just say elite, and just for the mere satisfaction of not being the person to say delete. So I'm going to just say elite, and I'm going to give you my time on that.
Have I bullied you guys? No, I want you guys fans to know that I did not choose this topic. And
he is obsessed. He's obsessed.
But I want to say this. I'm going to be 100% honest, okay? The
Please
last
don't.
little while.
Please don't.
You
don't want to see our chat, guys.
No, what I'd like to say is this, is I have had slight reservations with them pushing Tay right now, okay? I have seen in some of her matches a few things that just make me go, ooh, that did not look good, or ooh. Today's match, which we'll get into later, right off the opening bat, when Shida grabs, I think maybe it was Nyla Rose running, one of the two, throws her into Tay. Tay puts her feet up to give her, you know how the guy outside puts the foot up to get the kick? Yep. And she did this horrible thing where she basically bounced off the girl coming, where you knew that absolutely nothing happened to the girl being thrown into it. And I just went, oh no, please have a good match.
Support this.
Yeah, Tay, please, come on, man. But you know what? She has, for all those tiny little things, she has so upped her game, especially when she's been really throwing her judo in there. She looks credible. I mean, a girl her small shouldn't be able to huck around Nyla Rose, but she is realistically in doing it using her judo. And today, when she fired up, when she had the hot tag in her thing, she went crazy and showed me a part of herself that was like, wow, maybe she can throw together a whole good championship match. So I've always believed right now that she is extremely attractive and marketable in that sense. She does need more work on her wrestling thing, but here's the problem. If you elite or delete at this moment, you run the risk, if you delete her, that she has 9/10 of the package. You delete her. What if you lose a lot of those other aspects and you lost that opportunity? Sometimes we know in wrestling, the ring work isn't always the biggest thing.
Yeah.
You know? And he can tell you, he can do a whole match where he does one move, and that move is kicking the rope, but he can still entertain you and give you a solid, fun match. You don't necessarily need to do a gazillion things. She has the personality, and she has the presence right now. She does have a little work, and AEW is very work heavy. So she is going to have to buckle up on some of that stuff. But I think at this moment, if it comes down to an elite delete at this moment, you'd be an idiot to delete her because you may lose what you have now.
I'll tell you one thing is she had a hell of a pump kick on AEW Dark. She hit this girl clean on the chin. It was perfectly done. It was that definitely impressed me. So I'm definitely impressed by her. She, like you said, she does need a little more work, but she's definitely elite.
Okay, so well, you know what, fans? Big surprise, 99.2% of you picked as elite.
99.2. Who was the person that picked elite?
I'm not going to say his name, but he might be an old school host on our network. Okay,
I will.
Yeah.
I will. Tony Diaz said delete. He's the only one. I did all the mathematicals, over 100 votes. Tony Diaz is the only one to put delete, and he says this very simply: too green, and left it at that. That's his defense.
And let's face it, he's kind of right. There is a little greenness in there, but at the same time, you run that risk. If you hold her back, you may miss the train on her. You know, she may only be, you hold her back, she may come back as a mid-carder. Right now, she has a chance to get pushed into the main event, and fans will buy it. So I agree with what he says too in that sense. Let's see. Let's find out some comments that we have. Oh, here's somebody, a man after my own heart. Thomas James Little wrote, I've said it once and I'll say it again. Tay Conti for the win. Elite, you ninnies. Ah.
Elite?
Elite. I like to say elite sometimes too. So, elite, you ninnies. I think ninnies, he meant Andy. All right.
Elite, you nineties.
Gavin Tate said, Tay Conti should be the new leader of the Dark Order.
Whoa.
Not going to go that far whatsoever.
No. She doesn't have the mic skills for that.
Keith Beaumont, who obviously is a man of great learned abilities, says beautiful inside and out. And a whole bunch of people commenting elite. So, yeah. So that is our look this week at our Hot Topics and our Elite Delete. And we're going to take a quick commercial break.
Wait, didn't we miss one?
Wait, we got one more.
We have one more thing? What do we got?
We got one more. The face of women's wrestling in AEW,
Oh, how many
Dr.
goddamn topics do we
Britt
got?
Baker, DDM.
Okay.
Is she the face?
Legend. The new legend.
The new legend, she called herself, yeah. Okay. Well, how come I don't have any numbers on this? It seems like my person didn't. There we go.
The numbers are there.
Okay. There's just no comments. Okay. Let's get into this. Britt Baker, is she the face right now of the women's division? And Rick, you know what? You look like you're kind of itching on this one. So go ahead. Is she the face of this division right
I'm
now?
going to very clearly say no. Like, I really want to jump on and say no, but she definitely is. She's most definitely the face of this women's division.
What's
she
your
has the mic
reservations?
skills. She has the presence. You know, I just feel like the women's division don't have enough matches on AEW Dynamite. And I don't watch Dark like that. And she's talking about Elevation, and she's going to be on Elevation and stuff like that. I don't see her enough to be like, yeah, you're the face of this company. But you know what? The way they treat her and the way that you do see a lot of her on Dynamite, I'm just like, she's the only one that I really see most of. So I guess she's the face, but I want to see more in-ring action with her for sure.
Okay.
So yes, she is definitely the face of the women's division, and that's not saying much, but yes.
Ooh. Andy.
From the way the question is, I'm not too sure from how it was said to how you worded, because to me you said something right before you threw it over to Rick that for me really hits it. Is she's the face of the AEW women's division right now.
And that's what I'm taking it as now.
Right now, without a doubt. And maybe a slightly more positive look at it than Rick. It's just that because he's right. Like we don't get to see a lot of women's action on Dynamite. So if you're not watching Dark, if you're not watching Elevation, you know, a lot of these claims can just be like, okay, yeah, sure, if you say so. But having said that, and you guys know that I've long been a supporter of Britt, even like through her injury and all that. To me, like I said, there was something there. Right now, I think just the way things are, this is one of those times where it's like, okay, there's no definitive star, or there's no definitive person jumping out, but she's the closest thing to that right now.
Okay.
So I would say, you know, she's given time. You know, Rick says, you know, she's given time, and she's making the most of her time. And that's, you know, that's one of the things that we talk about. Whether you're getting one segment, 1 minute, whether you're getting 5 seconds, you know, the time that she's given, no matter what it is, she's making the most of it. Would it be great to see more in-ring stuff to kind of help support that? Absolutely. Is that necessary? Absolutely. But right now, as it stands for what any of these women have been given, I think Britt is head and shoulders above the rest. So yes, right now she is definitely the face of the AEW women's division.
All right. Elio.
Yes, I'm gonna say yes. She is right now because she's got the mic skill. She's got that on-air presence. Yeah, especially even more so after that lights out match that we saw. We've never seen anything like that, like in the main event on AEW Dynamite in the time that it's been on around. All
right. Well, you know what, guys? As much as there's parts of me that really, really enjoy Britt Baker. I love her character work. Her wrestling has been coming up. The reason why she is the face right now, and I'm going to say she is is a big misstep on behalf of AEW. Okay, they've had a few other people that had they just really pushed properly, presented properly, could have been the face and a distinct lead for this company. You had Serena Deeb, who maybe she didn't. Well, how do we know? They didn't really give us much of her. And was that because she was the NWA Women's Champion that they didn't really want to overly push someone from another company? But here you had somebody with a lot of talent who they just never really showed us her personality. And we've seen her do it in the WWE. We've seen her do it in Shine. She can present a really good character. They never gave her that whatsoever. I would say that Thunder Rosa, they only half-ass gave us. They gave us at times some incredible stuff, but once again, they didn't go all out and present Thunder Rosa as a credible women's wrestler of note. You know, even through this whole thing, you still felt that Britt Baker was the one that the company wanted more so than Thunder Rosa.
And I think we can touch on that once we get to Britt's promo later in the show too.
Yep,
absolutely.
And then here's the biggest misstep of all: is you have a very talented, attractive, and could be marketable champion in Shida, but I don't know if it's her lack of English prowess or what, but man, they have not marketed her as an effective force as a champion. She was heads above everyone else for a long time during this pandemic for the wrestlers that were available, yet they didn't promote her or present her like she was any kind of thing special. She was just Shida with her stick who would come out and win every match.
I forget that she's a champion at times.
And that is a shame because she's had some incredible matches. But the fact is, it's just like any other time. It's just like WWE or any other times. You'll see a wrestler who you may know is great, who you may have seen and liked, but if they don't tell you that, if the commentators don't present her as that, if the shows don't present her as that, people don't see her as that. You know, she was the great package in the fact she actually had the looks, the presence, and the talent, but they just didn't give her any kind of voice. We could say maybe it's because she doesn't speak English well, but that's bullshit because they could have given her someone to talk. They could have had things done for her. They could have presented her as this Japanese force. Instead, she's going to fade away and get overdone by girls who have much better speaking skills and much better presentation who definitely don't have the skill that she has. So that's sad. Is Britt Baker? Yes. However, my hopes are up, and we'll get in that today. The return of Chris Statlander makes me think that maybe Britt Baker's time at the top is going to be done because Statlander was definitely on her way to being the face and probably would have been the champion had she got not injured. So we'll get into that. Now, folks, we're looking at the votes that you people sent in, and it seems that 86% of you say Britt Baker is the face of AEW's women's division now, and we'll have to agree. I mean, she had an incredible match. And boy, can she talk. She presents herself right out there. I find it extremely sad that, and notice what I said about companies, is that she just had a groundbreaking match that she lost. And the woman who won the belt has had 30 seconds of promo time since then, just saying thank you for the good match. That ought to tell you how much you can present somebody and show people in a light. So unfortunately, that is the world of wrestling. It's not always who's the best. It's who decides that you're the best. All right. So right now, Elio, I would like to throw out a question to you, my friend.
Okay.
If I am the casual fan and I want to write in and, make some comments about the show, be a part of our polls, do any of that stuff, where can people get a hold of us and how?
So you can do that on Facebook at Wrestling POV Podcast, Instagram Wrestling POV1, and Twitter at Wrestling POV.
Excellent. You know what, fans? We are one of many shows here on the WPOV network. We are global. You find us every Friday talking about AEW and about a lot of special questions and topics that we come up with. It always features me, the legend T. James Logan. We have the gentleman Elio Canella and the lone wolf Andy Anderson. You'll hear us every Friday. On Sundays, we have
Saturdays.
WP. Is it Saturdays?
Saturdays.
Well, you record Saturdays. You get it out that night?
Yes.
Are you taking notes there, Elio?
We're fast.
I have my notes up
You got
here.
a day and a half lead. He's got it out in the same day. Okay, anyways. Sorry, Elio. So we have WPOV Wrestling, which is a deep look all across the WWE universe.
Yes.
So they cover all the shows, and they even do a little bit of a look at AEW and have their special AEW versus NXT, which is going to be kind of mute in the next little while after WrestleMania. But hey, they'll still probably do it anyways. Why not? You'll find that show hosted by Ric Serrano III. He is the third wheel, they say, in that show. But I don't know. It seems like Clay Cummings, the $50 man, is kind of the third wheel. But Tony Diaz also on that show. The three of them cover a lot of stuff, and it's a little more crazier base than we are. They tend to be the zany. We pretend to be the laid back ridiculousness. So you got humor in every sense. You find them on Saturdays. Then every Wednesday we have WPOV Quarantine, which is our Zoom based YouTube show, which is the one show that you can watch as you see us talking every time. And it's kind of cool because we bring on wrestlers, people associated with wrestling, whether it be referees, ringside people, whatever. We have even wrestling writers. We have all kinds of guests. We've had legends on, from Kevin Sullivan to Ron Fuller to Dan Crawford to D'Lo Brown and Savio Vega. We've had some great guests. Usually our kind of format there is either we're going to have a tribute show where we're talking about a wrestler that his career, or we're talking about the current wrestler that's on with us about his career, or we do a roundtable talk where we take a topic and we just all point our views and have just all kinds of interesting stuff about it. It tends to be my favorite show of the week because it's just so darn fun. And I know Andy loves it, and I know Elio loves it, and we all come out of there just listening to our guests sometimes with even much more love and appreciation for wrestling is all about. And our last show is WPOV Aftermath. It's the show that we, after every big pay-per-view, we sit, who knows what iteration of us, 6 of us will come on that show. We'll talk about what we've seen. We'll break it down, tell you if it's worth watching, and have a little fun doing it. WrestleMania is coming up. I don't know. Some of us are going to be on there more than we'd like to be, but I'm sure there's a lot we're going to have to talk about for WrestleMania. Now, Rick, I know people are listening on to whatever platform they are listening on to this moment, but we are also available on other platforms, are we not?
Absolutely. On iTunes, YouTube, Podbean, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and TuneIn Radio for free. And not to mention, on Aftermath, we have the Wrestling POV pay-per-view points game. And Andy Anderson, I'm coming for my baby.
You have his baby?
Yes.
What the hell? What kind of bets are you guys doing? Okay, I'm not even going to get into that.
This
All
was
right.
about to go off the rails.
He wants his baby back, baby back, baby back, baby back, baby back.
It's anarchy.
Well, you know what? Just because of Andy's terrible
anarchy.
singing, I was going to get him
no.
to hawk T-shirts. But once again, I'm going to bump him off.
Oh.
And I have a legend who I brought onto the show who's going to hawk some T-shirts for us.
Oh, no.
You're not going to
Andy
believe.
Anderson.
I have the greatest intercontinental champion of all time, the Honky Tonk Man, Wayne Ferris. Honky Tonk, sell some T-shirts for us, baby.
Well, you know, I'm going to sound like Dusty Rhodes.
Wait, why is Andy talking? Get Honky in here. Sorry about that, folks.
Everybody knows that the Honky Tonk Man is the greatest intercontinental champion of all time. I got Peggy Sue behind me. The Colonel's in the back. I'm going to go onto ProWrestlingTees.com while I'm riding in the back of my pink Cadillac. I'm going to find me one of those 4 T-shirts because the greatest intercontinental champion of all time needs the greatest WPOV T-shirts of all time. Get one of those T-shirts, $19.95. Unless you're the Honky Tonk Man, then you're probably going to get them for free. We get them for free, right? We're not going to get them for free.
That way. You're not going to get them like that, Honky.
No, you're not.
Well, when I find that Ric Serrano, I'm going to shake, rattle, and roll him all the way to the ground. Go get your T-shirt. I'm the Honky Tonk Man.
He's the Honky Tonk Man.
He's the Honky Tonk Man.
Cool. I'm cocky. I'm bad.
All right, folks. Well, we'll take a quick commercial break and we'll be back.
What's up? I'm Vinny Tallada, and you're watching WPOV Global.
All right, welcome back, folks. Today now we're going into our AEW Dynamite report card.
Dynamite!
First of all, I want to say one of the biggest inconsistencies we've had over the last while is it's very rare we get 2 really solid AEWs in a row. You know, we're lucky if we get it every second week. And we had complained that sometimes it's like, man, sometimes this show can be a bit of a pain in the ass. Well, this week, I'm glad to say I thought it was much better than average show. and I enjoyed it. And we're going to get right into it, okay? Let's start off, and I know the first thing I think is, oh, God. They started off with Christian Cage and Kaz. And Ric Serrano lost his mind on the group chat. He's like, Christian Cage! Christian Cage!
My nipples got hard.
Too much information.
Where do I go? Anyways, very solid match. Christian Cage getting the win in the end. I thought it was nice. It opened up an AEW with solid wrestling, which gave me the idea that, wow, maybe we're going to have a show full of solid wrestling, and we kind of did. Going to say it was good. I've got to say, though, I was a little bit thrown off that it would be Kaz, his first match, and that Kaz would give him such an even match, because we brought this guy in as like the big new signing, and it's not like he dominated this match. And even to the end, it was like the last two moves that allowed him to take out the win. So I would have thought maybe they could have built up a few maybe easier victories for Christian to showcase that he's a big main event guy. But in the end, for me, Kaz is a mid-carder, and he struggled to get by Kaz, which shows me that maybe Christian will be in a workhorse is not really top material. Okay? So, Rick, I'm sure you're going to counterpoint that, but go right ahead.
No, I agree with you to some point where it's like he needed to outwork everyone. And he's showing that, all right, just because you're coming into AEW saying you're going to outwork everyone doesn't mean it's going to happen. And Kaz, you said he's a mid-carder, but you got to prove yourself. And he has to shake 7 years of ring rust off. So this was a perfect matchup for him, I think. I think it showed, you know what? Christian said he's going to come in here and outwork everyone, and he's struggling right now. But at the end of it all, he picked up the win. I really was impressed with Christian. I'm always impressed with Kaz. I thought this was a great first match for him. Solid performance. I really, really enjoyed this matchup.
Where the hell was this Kaz all these years before AEW? I mean, he's in the one company where they're not going to give him a shot to the top, and he's wrestling better than I've ever seen him wrestle. Andy, what did you think of this match?
You guys know I kind of laughed. I was a little behind and starting to watch the show, and I started the show and I'm like, oh, hey, look at this. There's like an actual wrestling match on AEW Dynamite. I liked it. I thought it was a good start to the show, having Christian come out. I kind of agree more along the lines with Rick. I don't think that you needed to give him anybody easier. He's shaking off seven years of ring rust. And, to put him in there with a mid-card guy, I wouldn't have put him in like right off the bat with like a main event guy. So this seemed like a good fit. I like how they acknowledge that they had a little bit of history working each other in the past. And I think, didn't Kazarian beat him before too or something? Wasn't it like a ladder match or something?
So what was that, 2007? Who won that match?
I think they said Kazarian won it.
Well, I thought Christian Cage did, but maybe I was wrong. Okay. So it's been so long, guys.
Oh, yeah. No. And I'm trying to recall back to the commentary. So, you know what? I was okay with that. I thought they both looked great. I mean, again, obviously it was never really in doubt who was going to win. I looked past the more 50-50 style. It was just, Kazarian's been in the ring. He's sharp, ready to go. Christian's coming in. Yeah, you're a big signee, but hey, if you haven't really been in front of the lights, with the red light on, with the TV camera on, it's a different story. So I thought it was a good story because of the way they went back and forth. And I don't know if I would say it was the best match of the night, but it was definitely one of the ones that I enjoyed the most tonight.
Okay, excellent. Elio?
Yeah, I thought it was a good, solid opening match. It was good to see Christian back in the ring. It was a good back and forth. I thought they both did well, and it was good to see Christian pick up the win.
Okay. I always laugh now when I see Frankie Kazarian because he's got a pretty good size. He's definitely talented, and I think back to when he was signed to the WWE, and then he turned down the contract because he didn't want to shave his hair. I wonder how much he regrets that now, when he could have had a chance to be a lot more than his career actually turned out to be, simply because he thought his hair was his image and he wanted to get rid of his Shawn Michaels locks.
And he shaved his head so many times in Impact.
Since, yes. All right. Okay. Now I know from our chat that Andy's disagreed with this one for me, but I sat and watched that Darby Allin promo and I went like, what the fuck did I just watch? And I watched it again and I'm like, what is with this crappy, weird stuff? He does this weird promo with Matt Hardy that I don't know. Maybe maybe I'm just too old, man. Get off my front lawn, sort of deal. But I don't know what kind of MTV weird mind 7 horror movie bullshit this was. But I got nothing out of this. Rick,
This was terrible. No, I'm with you. You're not old. You're not that old, at least.
Okay.
Yeah, no, this was bad. I don't understand why Matt Hardy is getting a title shot or in the title picture at all. Darby better kill him. I'm just saying that.
Yeah, that's going to happen. Have you never watched a Darby Allin match before?
No.
It's 90% of him getting beat in a coffin drop and win. All right, Andy, I know. Why did you disagree with us on this? What did you get out of this?
You know what? It caught my interest because, it was a little bit different, and the fact I honestly didn't realize it was Darby at first. Mm-hmm. So I mean, when he did the thing, kind of having the Matt Hardy I kind of had to look a little closer, and then actually kind of listening. The message and the story that he was presenting about the money doesn't mean anything. Mm-hmm. I bought into that. I got I got hooked, but I bought into it saying, and it was good because it's kind of like what wrestling fans are saying. It's like, oh, you're coming out here and you're thinking the money's going to do all this. The money, doesn't mean anything. And that's kind of, with the exception, and you guys know I'm a stickler for this, and it happened twice in the first 10 minutes of the show. Mm-hmm. I don't need to hear him saying your money don't mean shit.
Yeah.
Your money doesn't mean anything. Your money means nothing. To me, that's more impactful than needing to swear.
Yeah.
You save that for something where things are hot, and you're pissed, but you're not at that point where you need to be swearing. And I'll talk about that again in a few minutes. Yep. But other than that, you know what? And you guys know, I'm not a Darby guy by any stretch of imagination, mm-hmm. but I thought this was pretty good. This is one of the better showings that he's had.
You're not adding the coffin off to your repertoire on the next show?
If I do it off the bottom rope, maybe.
Off the bottom of the ring steps.
I'm gonna do the shallow coffin drop.
Okay, yes. Okay. How about you, Elio? Did you get anything out of this?
No, I was going to these promos, curious to see with how they are. Mm-hmm. This one, I didn't get. I just didn't get anything out of it, and especially like Andy said, the swearing is what took me out right out after.
Okay. Have you ever guys been to a place where you go to a place where they serve you, let's say you go to a place and every time they served everybody ice cream, everyone had ice cream all day, right? And then in the middle of the thing, they gave you a piece of pie and you're like, oh, this is kind of neat. This is different, right? But if they give you that same damn piece of pie every single time, you're like, oh, great, it's pie. And that's what Darby Allin's given me is at the beginning, he had this black and white showing you artsy looking thing. And for the first couple of times, I was like, oh, wow, that caught my eye, right? But after a while, it just seems like the same old drivel when that's all he does. So I lost the message. Andy actually listened to the message, got it out of it. That's cool. I was just taken right out from right to the bat, another goofy ass black and white avant-garde wannabe artsy fartsy crap from Darby Allin that it took me out. So unfortunately, even if there was a great message in there, I watched it twice and I didn't even get it. So
you didn't want a piece of his pie?
No, do not want a piece of his pie. Maybe though, I'm starting to more like the pie from Jade Cargill because I gotta say, Jade Cargill, that came off terrible. I gotta say that Jade Cargill is starting to really look like if she can get her wrestling together, this chick could be marketable as a women's champion down the road. She does have a pretty big look. She has this presence. The voice is she's starting to get a little better with the talking. But let's just work on the wrestling too, because that seems to be her weakest link at this moment. I did find it really strange that she also had to use the word shit in the middle of the thing. And also, I'm that bitch. I'm not sure if that's the greatest saying that you're trying to market to children with T-shirts, that I'm that bitch on it. I don't know. A lot of parents are going to buy that for their kids, so I don't know. But Rick, you've always seen a lot in Jade Cargill. Is it continuing?
Listen, man. Yes, absolutely. She's that bitch. That's how she rolls, all right? She's that bitch. That's exactly what she is, all right? I have no problem with her owning the word bitch. That's a huge thing for me. The one thing I don't like is that she cursed. She didn't need to say shit. But if she don't give a shit, she don't give a shit. All right. So Jade Cargill, she's that bitch. So that's what I got to say.
Andy, is she that bitch for you?
Can we? See, this isn't the approach. This is what happens when you let kids watch the show and they just keep repeating the same thing.
Right around your little girls going, bitch, bitch, bitch. Stop that. Yes.
Look, I will agree with you. The delivery is improving.
Okay. Presence?
Is it still there for me? Not quite yet, but I'll take this tying into kind of what you're saying, what we were saying earlier about Britt Baker. Is she's talking all the smack, but we've still seen very little from her. Nothing. Yeah. And so for me to be all talk and there's nothing going on, and that's not totally her fault.
Yeah.
So I'm not faulting her for that, but I can't buy into it.
Yes,
I'm still out on. I'm not as far against it as I was. I mean, I'm trying to be open. I'm trying to give it. And like I said, I can see the improvement, but for her just to come out and be all missed thing, it's like you had one good match. You had a squash. I don't watch Dark. I don't watch Elevation. So I'm sorry. It's not working for me. I don't think that, kids are the demographic for this. So I'm sure they're probably not having to worry about that shirt, about I'm that bitch. I'm sure that shirt would sell.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah. I won't
I'm going to buy one.
I'm sure you will. But I'm surprised you haven't already if it's come out.
Or made your own. Canceled your own out.
But no, it's just, the swearing again, but overall, I see improvement, so I'll give her that.
Wow, just like the Grinch, Andy's heart grew 5 times bigger than
all right. 3 times right now. It's 3. It's almost.
All right.
The Canadian exchange is probably only 2.5.
Yeah. All right.
I was fine with this. So and I think delivery was great. It's an improvement on the first promo she cut when she first made her appearance. So there's a great improvement there.
Okay. All right. We'll move on next to Cody versus QT Marshall. Once again, what an interesting, and I love it because I think even JR said, hey, where's Marshall's entrance? Because he's standing in the ring. Cody does his regular 17-minute entrance.
I was going to time Cody's entrance, but I thought, no, you know what? I'm not even going to bother.
You fell asleep trying to. You fell asleep.
I had to stop Marshall set up.
Cody does his rare giant-ass entry. They have this match where the funny thing, too, was Tony praising Cody's entrance. Did you guys catch that? We're all groaning at it, but Tony's like, wow, what a good friend. Even though it's an exhibition match with QT, he gives him the respect of even having his full entrance. I'm like, oh, Tony, get your head out of Cody's ass. That's the worst thing I've heard in a long time. Anyhow, so this match goes on. It's a lot of QT trying to kind of one up a little bit, not too aggressively in the beginning, and a lot of Cody getting ready to do something devastating and then backing off. Okay. Now I know that Andy's going to disagree because I read some of his comments but I actually went the route of it. Reminded me of that small period in WCW days where NWA days when Ric Flair had tried to be a good guy for a while, and he'd be wrestling people and he'd go to do that slap of his and then he'd stop himself and go, oh, whoa, okay, I don't want to, that he was trying very hard to not get too carried away. And I actually started, and I'm not the biggest Cody fan, but I actually garnered a lot of sympathy for Cody here because it did seem honestly like Cody's a guy who's a tough wrestler, at least it presented in this, that he was a professional wrestler who, as the match went on, his instinct started to kick in and he fought himself very hard not to follow through with the instinct for the kill because this is his friend. All right. It did end up breaking down with QT rolling out of the ring, getting more upset, and then laying out Arn Anderson, which was like out of nowhere. Holy crap, did I laugh at that? Lays out Arn Anderson, then hops out of the ring, and a big schmoz happens where, and this is the comment because everybody went, what, another faction? Right. And I'm like, yeah, but we went from a giant, boring faction of the Nightmare Family to 2 small, boring factions that nobody gives a shit about. Because then a bunch of nobodies from QT Marshall's school turn on the other nobodies in the Nightmare Family and attack them, beat them, culminating in a very bloody Dustin Rhodes, which I don't even remember why he was bleeding. It just all of a sudden he got up and he's bleeding everywhere.
I think then he gets one into the ring steps.
Maybe
he just said, I gotta cut myself. Like, the fuck? Like, you didn't need to do that.
Yeah, because he was no focus of this whatsoever.
No.
Especially with the face paint too, really.
Yeah.
I mean, he had on the magnetic white t-shirt.
Yeah, that was a good indication. And he's rule number 7.
But the just with with the makeup and stuff, it just didn't really.
Yeah. So this ends up culminating in them holding down Cody on the ring steps with QT with the chair, ready to like destroy Cody. And who comes out and saves him but tiny little Red Velvet?
He's my partner.
Which was funny because you know what? You guys all said, well, it would have been more effective if it been Brandy Rhodes. I actually thought it was Brandy Rhodes at first to like cut in on her face. I'm like, oh, what? Red Velvet? Because it would make more sense to send the pregnant lady out. No one's going to attack the pregnant lady, right? But we have Red Velvet declaring he's your friend and my partner. Just like, okay. And they back off. The only thing I'm going to say I liked about this, guys, is I'm not it's not that I don't dislike him. It's just he's so bland. But during this whole thing, the look on QT Marshall's face was awesome. Yes. He was selling it like a guy who went over the edge, was horrified what he was doing, but still felt like he had to keep going. Like that. It's too bad he's boring as shit, and we're not going to even care about the rest of this feud.
Yeah.
But and another funny thing that happened is I get this thing from Andy that says, how come Jade Cargill didn't come out? Oh, because Red Velvet had to walk to the back first. Now, before we get into Jade Cargill, Rick, this whole match and breakdown.
This was poorly done. I feel like the match itself I wasn't a big fan of. I really wanted to like it, but I wasn't there for it. The one thing I would say is, when the hell is Cody leaving? Like, every time they get close to getting rid of him, they had Penta with the shoulder. I'm like, yo, Penta's going to take him out. And no. And now all of a sudden QT's about to bash him in the head with the chair and take him out. No. And then I have to say this about Red Velvet. Red Velvet, Dustin is fucking dripping with blood like a stuck pig. And you're talking about Cody needs help. Nothing happened to Cody. This guy got power drived on the steel steps, had his head bleeding all over. But no, Cody needs the help. Come on. Ridiculous.
All right, Andy.
Yeah, I saw it a little differently as far as the match itself. To me, I saw it as Cody almost looking more heelish in the way he was pulling back. It was like playing cat and mouse. Mm-hmm. And it's like he's caught him, and it's like, that's okay. Don't worry, big guy. I'm gonna let you go. I'm not gonna hurt you. You
didn't get his facials though? Like when he had that honest look on his face, like, oh, I don't like. I bought the facials of like, I don't want to do this, man. I don't want to do this.
I don't want to do this, baby.
It was happening to me. It happened too much, and I just thought like, it didn't like, to me. It didn't garner sympathy for QT. I thought he almost looked kind of more. I would say like a schmuck, but just like he didn't belong. Like he
wasn't on the level at all.
Yeah. So to me, it was just But I will say. And I mean, and I, and you guys know from the our group chat, the randomness of QT coming back into the ring, punching Arn, I think was, and I mean, and I'm an Arn Anderson fan. I mean,
but it still was damn awesome.
That was probably the best thing for me all night because it was so out of nowhere.
Yeah.
It was a great looking punch, and I mean Arn obviously sold it well.
Yeah.
But damn, was that just a thing of beauty. So I love that. I'm sorry. Like I mean, and again, this goes to fantasy booking, so who knows about Red Velvet? It doesn't matter. Brandy's pregnant. She should be the one out there, begging for the life of her husband. Like, please don't hurt him. It's like. Like that would make more sense that she's going to come like after Cody than like what Rick says that instead of going to help Dustin, she's no, please, he's my partner. Like, it just, and I think the sympathy there would have been that would be on the level of like Elizabeth, going in front of somebody. You know what I mean? They're like going in front of somebody. I mean, obviously not pregnant, but just that. I mean, Elizabeth
Real
had
connection.
that real connection, and there's that. And I say this as respectful as possible. The helplessness. I mean, because Elizabeth, she wasn't an imposing figure. She didn't do anything.
Yeah.
No. And I mean, as a pregnant woman coming in, you'd be like, whoa, okay, guys, like bets off, like all bets off. So to me, I think they kind of missed it there for not having Brandy. And
I forgot to mention this too, is like Arn, who never gets involved physically. They even took him to the side rail, rammed his arm off, and did another spot there. I'm like, whoa, Arn, nice. Your osteoporosis pills must have came in this week. All right,
wow.
Double it.
Sorry. Okay, Elio.
I wasn't really looking forward to this match. So for me, I wasn't as into this match too much. It was just okay for me. The whole thing with all the students from the Nightmare Factory attacking,
dividing.
Yeah. So I guess now we have another faction here.
Yeah. And wasn't it funny to see Lee Johnson?
Didn't he get powerbombed?
And I love the great explanation by
it was a big bump for Lee.
Yeah. And the commentators, when he won his first match, he thanked everybody but QT Marshall. Payback. Like, what?
Yeah.
Okay.
I already got the faction name. It's QT Marshall and the Bad Apples.
Nice,
Rick. The last thing I'm going to say here is, you know how they always AEW is trying to get these really involved stories, right? And I was listening to Jim Cornette this week, and he was talking about last week's show, and he said, "Don't you guys found it funny that they had QT Marshall out there talking about how his life is so tough under Cody, and then they cut to his beautiful wife they've been together since high school and blah blah blah," and he goes, "Wasn't he fucking the bunny like 6 months ago on TV every week?" He has a point. The wife pretty damn quick, so kind of hard to buy the sympathy there for him and his wife.
Have a point.
Sorry, I found that very laughable. Speaking about laughable, Jon Moxley giving one of his laughable promos. This fell back into the promos I don't like, where he's just ranting on. It's not really coherent, and he's just trying to sell that once again he's the toughest man in the world. That's what I got out of it. Anyone else get anything different?
Just that he said that he had burns and scars, and then he took off his fucking jacket and shirt, and he had no burns or scars.
Yeah,
he must have meant like the mental, internal burns and scars,
like Kane.
But he said it. He was like, "I'm itchy from these damn barbed wire scars."
From itchy, if they're inside, it's like when you get the heebie-jeebies and you're itchy, but there's nothing visible. You can't see anything.
Explain to me how he got burn scars when it was a little fizzler that went off on the. Okay. Oh. He's allergic to the smoke from sparklers.
That's what it is.
I got nothing.
I like his promos when they're more coherent. When he's just rambling on, I get nothing.
Yeah. It doesn't make him look tough. It just makes him seem like a bully who's rambling. And that's the last thing you want to do when you're trying to be the big tough guy, right? The match now. Him and Cesar Bononi.
Oh, boy.
First of all, Cesar Bononi is such a strange-looking cat. I just can't put my finger on it. They tell us he's from South America. He has the coloring of a South American guy, but the facial features of a European. It drives me insane. He has a haircut and the look like he's a big German-Austrian dude, and I'm just like, what the heck?
I mean, he doesn't look like a Baywatch lifeguard to you.
Who said that?
One of the commentators said that. He looks like a Baywatch. I think it was.
No, I thought it was Mox.
Whoever said it, wow, you were on crack. Because are you watching the Lithuanian version of Baywatch? Because he does not.
Like the Kazakhstan one with Borat, I guess.
So he is so awkward in the ring. I'm sorry. This was a better effort than most. When Moxley got him onto the ropes and they were going for the superplex, I was like, oh my God, is Moxley going to break his own neck here trying to get this idiot over him? I was that worried because we have not seen anything but awkwardness and a really bad hesitation in Bononi. He just doesn't, he's a big dude who doesn't wrestle like he's a big dude. He's just awkward and I don't know. Yeah. This match wasn't great. Mox with the pin. What do you think, Rick?
I honestly, I think they're just doing Benoni a favor here. Like I mentioned on our show that his wife has leukemia. I honestly think this is just for paydays, just to get him on TV.
So. He deserves it for that at least.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what this is. The last 2 weeks, he's not ready. Like you talk about his look. He has a good look. The guy is chiseled. He's big. He's a big dude. He got the very strong jawline. He has this heroic look to him, but his in-ring ability is just not there. So honestly, I just think this is a payday for him, just to help out his wife, which is a good cause.
I forgot about that. Is it his wife or his sister? For some reason, I thought it was his sister.
I think it's his wife.
Okay. Yeah. Andy?
Or his family member. When we talked earlier about Kaz and Christian, and it's like, well, Christian was kind of struggling. Mm-hmm. That's how this match was to me, and I even wrote it down. I said this was too long for my liking.
Mm-hmm.
For Moxley,
and it wasn't even long.
No, well, I mean, I think they went like two segments. I think he lasted a commercial break.
Yeah.
But Rick's right. Like, he doesn't have the experience, so I'm not faulting him if it's the payday or whatever. But if Mox really should have had him beat within a few minutes, to me, it shouldn't have gone this long. What else was there? There's something else here. Oh, and apparently, was it Ryan Nemeth and the Drake dude? They're a faction on Dark.
Now. They're from Dark. They've been teaming together in faction.
Yeah. No, there's I don't know about that. There was something else. Oh, you know what? No, here, just because Rick, you were kind of talking about it. Cesar Bononi to me, and I'm going to say this as I'm trying to be complimentary here. Yeah. If he had the more ring experience and he was in NXT, to me, his look, he could fit in with Imperium.
Yes.
He looks very European.
Yeah.
Despite the fact he's a South American.
Yes. I'm just trying to be complimentary and put him, if he had more experience, that's how I could see him with that look.
And all I've got to say to that, guys, is you may not realize this, but he was in the NXT system for years.
Wow.
And was released because he never could break onto TV. He just wasn't good enough. Yeah. All right. Elio?
No, this match, I really didn't get anything out of this match. For me, it was too long. Yeah.
Okay. Fair enough. This guy, I got some funny things. This is one of those segments where it's horrible, funny, and good all in one shot. And we're talking Team Taz. And it's because you have all these different personalities in here. You have the horrible in Taz trying to be the tough guy talking. You have the bizarre and funny Brian Cage, who they're trying to say he's on the same table, but he just won't say he is. And then Ricky Starks turned into the weirdest Latino game show host for this segment. I'm not sure how to describe it. I've never seen him act like this. He went the slightly effeminate, hyper Latino guy who was just trying to talk to his friend. Like it was something else. I don't know how to describe it. Rick, what did you think of this? Especially the look on his face at the end when he sat there with his legs crossed and this weird smile.
Yeah, it was like he just stuck a fork in a socket and he just was just I know this is bad. Who better but Brian Cage? I mean, they gotta split this faction up already. Come on, man. This is ridiculous. No, split it up.
Okay.
I'm done.
Andy?
I like the way you describe it. It was I almost want to say it was a dumpster fire, but because Ricky Starks, like whatever that was awesome. I loved it.
But it sure wasn't him, right?
No, but it was funny as heck and entertaining. And Taz, and I'm going to date myself here, and I'm trying to remember the name of the character. I probably could have looked it up. But it's like he reminds me of Kevin Bacon's character in the classic National Lampoon's movie Animal House, where at the end of the movie, everything's chaotic, everything's falling apart. He's like, all is well. There is nothing to see here. All is well. Before he just gets like pummeled by a crowd of people. And that's how I feel with Taz. And it's just, it's almost, I don't know that they're trying to intentionally make it funny at this point, but it's almost like a caricature of, of an angle of a group that's like, oh yeah, no, everything's okay. It's like, but like we're all in on the joke. except Taz.
Yes, because you almost get the feeling like they gave Taz a script and said, "Okay, go out and read this," right? And they didn't tell him that those guys were going to jump in and cut him off, because every week he's kind of like, "Oh, okay, yeah, go ahead," like he sincerely didn't think they were going to do this.
Yeah. Nothing to see here. All is well.
Yeah, Elio.
Yeah, this was bad for me. They need to break this group up.
Is it bad that I want to see Ricky Starks like this always?
It's entertaining, man.
It's entertaining, yeah. I'll give him that.
No, okay, sorry, he's entertaining.
He is. Now, I in all our excitement of talking about this other stuff, I did skip over one part, and I alluded to it, is Red Velvet had gone to the back to do a little interview. Jade Cargill comes out, beats the crap out of her. The best line for me almost of the whole night was Jade going, "Bitch, you made me break my heel."
Yes.
Because she ran out wearing heels. Why do wrestling girls do this? We talked about Sheeta last week taking 10 minutes to get to the ring because her high heels were so big. But Cargill runs in, who's already 7'4", runs in with high heels and breaks one. Okay. Once again, laying out Red Velvet, showing me that Red Velvet is just a mouth that just takes a beating, I guess. Yep. Anyone else get Oh, that sounded terrible. Did anyone else get anything else? For me, I sure didn't mean
TVMA. TVMA.
No. For me, this was I was fine with this one. Mm-hmm. It was just that one line was just for that one line.
Yeah,
I was fine with this segment.
And it's finally nice to see her do something, right?
Yeah.
At least she added something to her repertoire. Rick, you got anything on this?
I just love Jade Cargill. Keep doing you, girl.
Yep.
Andy?
I guess this explains why we get Red Velvet coming out instead of Brandy. Mm-hmm. But to me, it's like, I don't know. Like, it seems like, that was a one and done thing with their match. So to me, if you're that, I'm not going to say the phrase. If you're that woman, why are you even bothering with Red Velvet? Like, move on.
Excuse me, Red Velvet. And Red Velvet tried to say that she can come at her, so she was just like, "No, I'm that bitch. You ain't coming at me." No.
And don't forget, she can mix that cake.
There you go.
Okay, Andy did send me a quick note as I was talking, and I don't get this because I thought I saw everything, but was there something to do with Ethan and Scorpio Sky?
Oh yeah.
Apparently now they're a tag team.
Scorpio Sky went from tag team to his singles run back to a tag team with Ethan Page.
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Yeah. It was actually a pretty damn good promo.
It was.
Somebody talk about it because I missed it. I obviously was forwarding around.
It was basically just Scorpio Sky saying one thing, and as he was talking, Ethan Page, it flicked to Ethan Page, and he was talking, finishing the sentence, and then went back to Scorpio, and then back to Ethan, and then boom, they were both together. Yep. And then boom, now they're finishing each other's sentences together.
That's some black magic shit, man.
Yes, it was.
It's almost like best friends. Oh, no, wait, that gimmick's already taken. Never mind.
Oh, yeah.
If they hug, I'm out. All right. Anyone else want to touch on this? I have no clue.
It was, you know what? If you put aside the whole Scorpio thing of tag to single back to tag, it was a good promo. And you know what? I'll give Ethan Page credit because, I didn't really know who he was. And, he's coming out here saying like, hey, like AEW dropped the ball. I'm a world-class talent and, you're not using me properly. And that's kind of like what Scorpio Sky was saying. Mm-hmm. And so to kind of put them together, it's like, okay, well, hey, maybe we'll get something good together.
We can bitch about it together. Okay. Elio?
No, pretty much what Andy said. They were finishing each other's sentences, seeing about how the company dropped the ball with both of them.
Wow, there's love in the air. All right, moving on. Now, one of the biggest complaints that I have about AEW on a consistent basis is these so-called backstage fights that break up. Where guys are fighting into things, and like especially the best friends are the worst for it. They've had the worst amount of these things that just look like absolute crap. They honestly look like me, Elio, and Rick could take a camera and pretend to do this back behind a dumpster and tried to make it sell it as a national television show. Okay?
Now I've done some things behind dumpsters, but I've never done that.
I know you have. I'm trying to clean you up, boy. But anyhow, and I ain't giving you that $10. Anyways, So they're very bad usually for this. When the setup came, we have the setup of the Pinnacle. They're sitting in the former Inner Circle's office. MJF's going on and on about ridiculous bullshit about like an interior designers, and he's got like these things he's gonna with the fabric were they gonna get new suits?
New suits.
Okay,
Yeah.
I wasn't sure because all of a sudden he went to interior design and blah 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 blah. And then one thing, and this becomes important later. All of a sudden they have a Pepsi cooler in the back, which you've never seen, and I don't think in any of the things I don't recall ever seeing a Pepsi cooler in that thing. But they focused on that, and I thought, okay, something's going to happen with this shit before the night's over. So as they're going on, they walked. MJF says something, we're going to get rid of this horrible bathroom, and he opens the thing, and standing in there is the entire Inner Circle except for Jake Hager.
Yep.
The funniest part, because I made my wife watch this part with me. She laughed so hard when he shut the door and said, "We're out of here.
we need to go.
We need to go." And they start heading out. They open the door, and there's Jake Hager. And then he throws a punch. Now, my first mind is, oh, crap. This is going to be another shitty thing that makes wrestling look terrible. Okay? The whole thing of when you're watching with your friend and you're trying to explain why you would watch this, right? But instead, this was like the old, sometimes you would get in a WCW Nitro day where you went, holy crap, that's cool. Those guys are going at it backstage. They proceeded to have a kick-ass segment fight, with the only exception I didn't like was I'd rather they just had the camera up instead of doing that two-cut angle thing to try and imply that Sammy Guevara really slammed that door heavy into it. That took you right out of it. They didn't need to do that. They could have just had the camera go up a bit, and they could have positioned it or whatever. But having that was an obvious cut. You knew then that they took his head out, did the thing, you know what I mean? So that part was a bit sucky, but the rest of it was very good. And I've always said, if you can work in some old school reference into a new school thing where you're not getting hit over the head like a dummy with it, like, hey, look what I'm doing, but you do something that's a total callback to something in old wrestling. And that was when Ortiz took a wooden chair, smashed it against the thing, pulls off this leg, and starts jabbing it into Dax's face. I mean, such a callback to the Magnum TA Tully Blanchard I Quit cage match where Magnum won it by doing that to Tully. Ironic, Tully's in the same room. And you got to ask yourself, in 85 I asked this, and today I asked this, who the hell even has a wooden chair like that anywhere? So what a great callback that was. For me, this satisfied on many levels. I, though, going to have to say I agree with Andy. I wish this had been a bigger build-up to it and hadn't happened at least for a couple more weeks. Because it's, once again, this is definitively pushing things too fast, too forward. We're not getting enough chance to really breathe in the severity of it. I do like they held off the Inner Circle for at least 2 weeks. But you know what? They should have slowly integrated them back to sell some kind of thing. But throwing them all back so quick, well, then that means now the next match is going to be, and already they're lining up matches. So great stuff. Not happy with the quickness of it. Rick, what do you think? Get out of this whole segment?
I thought this was badass. I thought it was a great segment. I thought everything about it. I thought the ice bucket bath was cool.
Yes.
The toilet scene was cool. I love throwing them into the refrigerator. I love the throwback to 1985. I totally knew they were talking about that steel cage match, I Quit match from 1985. Totally knew that.
You're so full of crap.
What it was. I totally knew that. You didn't have to tell me anything about Magnum and all that stuff. I knew it. It was just like, wow.
What did TA stand for in Magnum?
Tough attitude, of course.
Thank you. You just proved that you do
But
not know who Magnum is.
I exactly knew what it was.
Would you like
What
to know
does it stand
who
for, Elio?
his name? Which
Terry
was
Allen.
Thank you.
Terry Allen is exactly what I would have said.
Yeah,
In
sure
a second,
was.
Elio. Jeez Louise. No, honestly, it was a badass segment. I really enjoyed it. This is what they need to be doing more when they do backstage segments.
All right, Andy.
It was a great segment, but yeah, and I mean, and you said it because I said it in our chat.
Yep.
To me, I loved. You know what? You talk about the camera cut. The only thing I wasn't crazy about was right before that was because of this whole heated fight and fistuses and everything going on.
Fistuses.
And yes,
I love it.
And was Sammy picking up Sean Spears like into the backbreaker position and then flipping him like to me
he
it's
landed on his feet and rolled back and everyone went,
then
oh.
I was like that to me that kind of took out of it.
Yeah.
But
Well, that's supposed to be like the GTS. So he gave him a knee before he landed on his feet. So that's
I
what
didn't
that
see a
was.
knee in there.
Yeah, that's the move that him and Dominic Dijakovic got into an argument about. He puts him on his shoulders like that, and he gives him a knee. So it's like a reverse GTS.
And all this fight stuff where we're using wooden legs and toilet, and just punches and stuff, and you do that. To me, that's a small thing, but I just kind of that I lost it more on that than I did on the camera with the cut. Okay. This happened way too soon. You know, we saw Pinnacle last week, and you know we talked about the kind of like this 50-50 style, or you know these squash matches that aren't squash matches that should be squash matches. I want to see, like, for me, there should be a chase. Like, it's like, oh man, I can hardly wait to Inner Circle gets that. Oh, they got their hands on Pinnacle. Already. Yeah. Like this should have been another where they should have been out in the center of the ring. They could have been cutting a promo. Hell, they could have been having another match against lower talent and have the Inner Circle, you know, the car pulls up instead of Sue's mom or whatever, you know, it's like you have the limo pull up, the Inner Circle comes out, and then, you know, chase them off. It's like, you want that, oh man, like, oh, I want Jericho to get his hands on MJF. I want these guys to get their hands on, just beat the crap out of them. Yeah. You know, and it's like, well, we got it.
You know, despite how good it was, I agree with that. Wouldn't it have been cooler? Because when MJF opened that door, that is the coolest that the Inner Circle has ever looked like, a group of kick-ass dudes. And like it should have been better. Jake should have been in there with them, and they ran away. That I could have been satisfied.
Well, yeah, I see. Even that though, like that whole thing, like where they have them trapped. To me, that should have happened at least a month longer down the road.
I can see that.
There should have been more chase, because it's. You know, it's the, you know, we talk about the instant gratification. It's like, man, I can hardly wait to get their hands on them. And it's like, boom, first thing they do is they get their hands on them.
Yeah. Okay.
Fair enough.
So the segment itself was great, just not this fast, not so soon, not now. There should have been more chase, where we're just chomping at the bit. Please let Inner Circle get their hands on Pinnacle, because we know once they do that they're going to punch them into ice baths. They're going to put them through Pepsi coolers. They're going to, you know, bring out that tough attitude with the wooden legs and stuff. Just no. And you know what? I believe that Pepsi cooler has been there in the past.
I think
don't
so
recall
too.
seeing it, but I do know the focus of it told you that somebody was going.
Yeah.
And I'm going to have to disagree with everything you say, Andy, because the Booker of the Year, Tony Kahn, booked this. Anyways.
Greatest thing ever.
Elio?
I thought this was a great segment, which, while you were all giving your thoughts on this, I was thinking, could we possibly see another Stadium Stampede match down the road?
God, I hope not.
I was just thinking, that just popped into my head while I was listening to you guys.
You know, I'm thinking what would probably be the best thing to do is give them their own fucking pay-per-view. I would be down for Inner Circle versus Pinnacle. Every single match is with them. Have Santana Ortiz versus FTR. Have Wardlow versus Hager. Have Jericho versus MJF. Have Tully versus some... Like, have everybody face off against somebody.
You Spears. Poor Spears can't give even a mention from you, huh?
Who?
Yeah, exactly.
Can we call it? We'll call it AEW Sold Out.
There you go.
That's all an original and new.
There you go. Oh, and you know what? I just realized something. I'm glad you brought up Sean Spears, because last week I had a gold message and you guys didn't say it. He puts the pin in Pinnacle because he eats the
terrible.
pins.
It was terrible.
All
right.
Let's go, Jerry.
No.
It's not. It's not even Clay. And I don't mean Cummings. Now, the only gruff that I received all week, which I'm going to hear about all the thing, is I laughed when he gave Jericho gave MJF the swirly. And I said to my wife, I love the swirly. I did that to a kid in high school, and she got so mad at me. She's like, you've done that to someone? And I said, he was a dick and he deserved it. And yes, it was a public bathroom in a high school, and I gave him a swirly. It wasn't a bully situation. This tough guy wanted to fight me, but I put his face in this thing and gave him a swirly. But now I'm going to be paying for that all week. Thanks, AEW. All right, moving on. I like that's AEW's fault that I was an asshole as a kid. All right, let's go over to now. I know we're going to get some disagreement with Andy, but I'm sorry. I agree. I cannot stand Don Callis whatsoever. Okay, but for once, he actually his smarmy, his horribleness worked for this segment. Okay, I got a big kick out of when he got rid of Marvez and got rid of. What's his name? Nick Jackson? Yeah, why don't you go be a rock star, whatever it is the hell you're trying to do. Go do that over there. That was pretty funny.
Facial hair. Nick is growing some facial hair now. He had like a chin strap.
If he could only get it on his head, eh? Anyways. But then, Matt Jackson is the worst actor in the world. So give him a role where he doesn't really have to say anything. This was perfect for him. He could just sit there and smolder, which is exactly what he did. Callis played this weird thing, like he played this psycho dude. I love Kenny Omega. I thought you loved Kenny Omega. Whoa. It was pretty funny, I thought. And then he slaps. This is the part I don't get. Usually the Young Bucks defend themselves, but it seems when they come in this situation that has anything to do with Omega and those guys, they turn into the biggest pussies in the world. They'll just take abuse and sit there and smolder and think about it. So he lets Don Callis slap him in the face. If you've met Don Callis, you probably just want to punch that dude before he says anything to you. But he takes a slap to the face and lets him walk away. Thought it was kind of effective, actually, except for the fact that, to be all honest, he should have just nailed Callis.
Yeah.
Guys, anything on this? Rick?
I think Bad Bunny's punch over Don Callis' slap for sure.
Okay. Andy?
Nah.
I expected that. Elio?
I thought Matt Jackson was gonna punch him for like a second, then he just like holds back and he's like,
Wah, wah.
I'm like, nah. I'm like, nah.
Okay.
I just got it was kind of like a weird segment for me.
All right. I do gotta say, love this translator guy that hangs out with Lucha Brothers. Yeah. He has got this sliminess to him that you just. I like that.
Alex, whatever. I can't think of the last name. Alex something starts with an A.
No, I can't even remember.
Yeah.
Interesting promo. I always find it funny that he always translate what Penta says. Yet we know Penta can speak English, and he doesn't need a translate. If anybody, maybe Laredo Kid is probably the only guy who actually can't speak English. So, but interesting to have that set up promo. We then go to Omega and the Good Brothers taking on Laredo Kid and the Lucha Brothers. My big question, Andy, how come I can watch Young Bucks matches, which are full of all this kind of crazy shit, and I'm bored and can't get into it, yet the Lucha Brothers, they do a lot of crazy stuff, but there's something about their flow or something that makes me enjoy it more. Any idea why is that?
I don't know, because I think I fall into a similar
We've
vein.
talked about this.
Yeah, and it was the same thing. I think for me, what it is, at least like even tonight was, and I've said this before in past shows, once we start doing the shows where it's like 6-man, 8-man, 10-man, I kind of almost just go, okay, I'm just going to sit back, because to get a lot of deep psychology, there's usually very little of it.
Yeah.
And I think so I kind of give that suspension of disbelief a little bit more. And then I throw in, because, and I'm not saying this is a knock, but I think this is part of the reason for me, is when you insert kind of, especially in this sense, like a Mexican trio.
Yeah.
And if you're familiar with kind of like way a lot of the Lucha Libre matches go, where there's a lot of, lot more free flow, there isn't really the tags, that type of thing. You're a little more open as opposed to a more standard traditional style wrestling match, like the beginning of the show, like Christian versus Kaz, like, you wouldn't get all this craziness. And this for me, maybe that's just where it's like, okay, I'm turning my mind off. And I think it was like there's whatever that one sequence of moves where was it Kenny or somebody was against the ropes, and then Phoenix did that rope walk.
Yeah, right across and kicked him in the head.
Like he came out of like the camera range and like walked. It was like, holy crap! Like that, that's pretty sweet. And there's a few times I kind of caught myself going, okay, really? Come on. Okay. And it's just like, nope, shut it off. And that's why I ended up being okay with it. And I think that's I just don't afford that to the Young Bucks and most other, say, like American. That's more reserved for multi-person matches and Lucha Libre. Yeah.
And I got to say, Lucha Libre, in this sense, it really works a lot better when you're not fighting a high-flying team.
Yes.
If it's a Lucha Libre with the setup of two big dudes and a guy who, is pretty creative, this turned into be actually a pretty good match. It ends up in the end with Omega getting the pin on Laredo Kid, which they downplayed, but if you're a hardcore wrestling fan, it's redemption for Laredo Kid kicking out of the One Wing Angel a couple months back. Really good. Like I said, interesting match. Really, the Laredo Kid did this crazy-ass dive, which was even crazier than a Phoenix one, because he almost did a backflip into the crowd as he came off the thing. He was running so damn fast. But like I said, fun match and a good setup. And then we have this thing at the end with Moxley coming out, the Young Bucks coming out, and Matt selling his soul. That must have been a hell of a slap. That
was a stinger.
It was a stinger that Callis gave him. To set up, I guess, this feud.
And for next week, Rick. So I think they already advertised.
Already, eh?
They already advertised.
Yeah. So this whole situation, Rick, you get anything out of this?
The one thing I did get out of this, and I think it's a good way to set up for a hot topic for next week. I want trios titles. If you're going to have all these 6-man tag match, bring the trio titles out and do that. So I think one thing we can definitely do is talk about should they bring the trios titles to AEW?
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's something.
I like it.
Okay, yeah, let's get a jump on that. Okay, Elio, you want to throw anything on this match?
For me, this was a good match. I enjoyed this match. Fun match.
Yeah, I gotta say, man, Phoenix, that dude is smooth as shit. I mean, so many transitions from move to things you wouldn't expect, He gets thrown through the ropes, spins back in, jumps on one foot, pivots into a kick. Like, holy smokes. Gotta say,
not
that
a
was
corn
pretty
in that
exciting.
shit.
Yeah. So although when the corn comes out and it falls apart for Phoenix, it looks like absolute garbage. When he's on an off night, it looks bad. Luckily, he doesn't get too many of those. Next, we go on to really quickly here. Jesus, the Britt Baker promo. Andy, I want you to go in on this because this was one that you were very interested in.
I really liked it. It definitely proves our point that we alluded to earlier, talking about Thunder Rosa. She was the winner of the match, but it sure doesn't feel like it since then.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been, Britt Baker's been the one that's kind of been pushed to the forefront. What I like about it, and I think this is a great heel thing, is her pointing out that, hey, this was a lights out match. It was non-sanctioned, so it doesn't count.
Yeah, and we've had that before because didn't Omega bring that up about the match with John Moxley?
Yeah. And so for her to bring it up, I loved it. And so to me, that almost, I'll let that slide as validation for Thunder Rosa 1. Yeah. But Britt's come out, smelling like roses and looking like the face of the AEW Women's Division. So I thought it was really good.
Okay. You know what? Let's move on to the next match where we have the setup of the Bunny and Nyla Rose taking on Shida and Tay Conti. And there were some great things in this match, I got to say. Nyla Rose looking more of a beast than we've seen in a while. Bunny looking very effective when she got her moves in. When she got into the ring, she actually had some very good stuff. Shida might have been the weakest part of this team because it didn't seem like she really did a lot during this match except take lots of beatings. Conte had a great hot tag where she came back and it looked good. Like I said, that first opening thing when she did that thing with the foot, I was just like, oh boy, after I put her as elite and now I'm going to look like an idiot. But she came back, and when she did her knee attack, as opposed to last week when she did it, half of them looked good. This tonight looked all good with her throws and her knees. Yeah. She came across, and then her finishing move almost took the win there. It looked almost awkward, but like she saved it. Like maybe just the girl was too heavy for her to set it up properly. So I like that. It added a little realism into it. My biggest eye roll, however, is watching two little girls climb up to the top rope and jump on 10 members outside of the thing. And really,
they caught the first one.
Yeah, but they should have caught both of them at the same time. They're so thin and small. It was something. It was something that made me
Nyla should have jumped off.
Oh God, everyone would have moved.
that would have been like a Wile E. cartoon coyote thing where just right through, everybody's moves out of the way, and she just boom goes right through the cement.
Yeah, man, it pops up in Albuquerque. Anyways,
the end.
But all in all, you know what? I wasn't sure what to think of this match. I kind of get a little worried when I see Nyla Rose in matches because she has not been booked very well. And Bunny, I knew nothing to expect because we really haven't seen her do jack in a match forever. But overall, I'm going to say I enjoyed the match. Love the fact that Tay Conti's shorts were probably 3 sizes too small for her. That was probably a bonus. The only problem I have is Shida. Why do you wear smaller clothes too? All right, moving on. Rick. Do you like the match or not?
This match was pretty good. It was a good match. I don't think Shida needed to be part of it. Put Shida in a different program. Put her with somebody one-on-one. She does not need to be part of this. Statlander would have probably made a better fit here. With you could have had Conti come out and be like, "Here's my mystery partner to face off against you two girls." But no, overall it was a pretty decent match. But I don't think Shida belonged here.
All right, Andy.
It was an all right match. You know what? I think I might agree with Rick. I mean, I obviously I get why Shida was there, but probably could have been suited better for somebody else. My issue with it, though, and I mentioned this in our chat, way too many people around ringside.
Yeah, ridiculous amount of people.
It felt like a lumberjack match. It's like if you would have had Matt Hardy and one guy out there, sure, okay. You have maybe 1 or 2 members of the Dark Order out there or something for whatever reason. Was it Dark Order was out? Yeah, Dark Order was out.
Yeah. And which also makes no sense because she never officially ever joined the Dark Order.
Yeah.
So she doesn't do the hand sign either.
Yeah. So why is she babysitting her?
Yeah. But just way too many people. That to me kind of took away from the match. But it was okay, but
Okay.
Elio? Same. This was a good match. It was just too many people ringside. All the Dark Order, all of Matt Hardy's, whatever his group's called.
Now, for me, the more logical thing at the very end of this match is they seem to be. They didn't mention it this week, but Tay Conti is the number 1 contender for Shida's belt. When Conti lost. And Shida's over there like, "Oh, are you okay, dear?" I would have thought it would have been so cool if Conti had punched her in the face and attacked her because she's the champ and now she wants her shot and feels like it's your fault that we lost this match. That would have really worked for me, But I see they're trying to make Conti more and the Dark Order more the lovable goofs or whatever. So so you couldn't really
lovable
get that
baby faces.
Yeah, lovable. We'll call them baby faces. So okay, let's now move to the main event. Which I'm going to say is all over the place because, first of all, the setup, incredibly stupid. When they walk out with all these stupid games everywhere, why they're doing a video game thing made no sense to me. They tell me it's a lights out kind of match situation. Okay, we know that now these are all going to be foreign objects of some sort. The things I got out of it, Miro at the end came alive, but man, there were points in this match where I'm just like, man, do something more. Kip Sabian, this is the most I've seen this dude ever do anything. He actually slightly impressed me with his aggressiveness, but he's also so small. Wow, I didn't realize how small he was, trying to fight these guys. Cassidy, I don't know what to think of Cassidy. Sometimes he's okay, sometimes he's not.
You guys like his new song that he got?
I didn't even notice it. I've heard about it and I forgot to listen for it. I know isn't it a Pixie song, I believe?
Yeah.
I've read about it. I forgot to actually listen.
I just don't understand how it goes with his character at all. I don't get it.
It was honestly a case of Tony Kahn really loved the song, wanted to purchase it to use for a wrestler and thought that Cassidy would be the best fit for it. So they've purchased that song just like the Jungle Boy one, so he'll be using it every time he comes out.
Right.
Lego. Oh my goodness! They pull off. How does this logic work? He pulls off a doll off the fake ticket, but the doll opens up and is full of Legos. Oh my Lord! So we get the Lego spots, which I've talked to many wrestlers say are even more painful than thumbtacks. They'd rather take the thumbtacks because at least it's one pain and it's done. Legos are forever. Then, as this match started to get a little more interesting, dumb things happen. I pointed out that Kip Sabian gets thrown into the whack-a-mole sign. His head's popped out. So Chuck grabs, or it was Cassidy. Grabs the hammer, which we've all seen those hammers. They're just foam, right? I mean, you could hit yourself in the head. It wouldn't really hurt. But it might, I'm sure if you did it for hours, you could probably hurt yourself. But anyways, he goes to hit Kip. And instead of hitting Kip, he's actually hitting the sign, which is very obvious he's hitting the sign.
Yeah.
And you're thinking, why on earth is he doing that? It's a fucking foam hammer. It's not going to hurt him. So much so that Miro actually picked it up and whacked Cassidy in the head with it a few times. So that part threw me off. And then, oh my God, we had to have a drive-in with Trent's mom bringing back her stupid-ass minivan, drives right into the area. Out comes Trent.
I thought we would have a turn here. I thought we had a turn.
It would have been funny. Comes out, he joins the attack. Then, and I probably missed the order of this, but there was a part in there where Cassidy was about to get pinned. Penelope Ford, I said right to my wife, look, Ford's going to pull him out. Yep, Ford pulls the referee out.
Yep.
She turns around to this machine, and out of the middle of this machine pops Chris Statlander, which exactly made me super happy, but also made me super confused of why the hell she was there, because she's never hung out with the best friends, and she's never had really any problems with Sabian's group. So I was, okay, I guess Chris is back. Awesome. But ill-fitting into this whole story?
Well, there was that one cool air hockey spot where she
did an awesome
that driver onto that table. That was pretty badass. That was cool. The women are doing some great spots, man. I'm really impressed with that for sure.
And I think with Chris back, and if her health is better, I think now the women's division is really going to have some really interesting, good matches for the next while.
Yeah,
it's really back up to a thing. Ends up in this match. Frick, I forgot who won this. Oh yeah, the best friends won.
So the best friends won.
Yeah, and then with the stupid, let's give the people what they want. They all hug each other, and I'm sorry, guys. This almost could have in some ways saved this whole thing, but no, it didn't. In the end, I just feel like this was the stupidest match to have as a main event. The only reason it was a main event because we had 2 returns. The Lego.
You had all those video games you had to pull out.
That too. That fake Mortal Kombat one that they put, like we were supposed to believe that Miro was able to pick it up. An arcade machine, really?
Well, you can see it was like one of those small ones that you'd buy at Walmart, like one of those, like not even like a real arcade game.
Yeah, the 3/4 size fake one.
Yeah.
You got to remember, we actually have seen Miro and Saban playing video games that weren't plugged in.
Yeah.
So did you expect anything more? I got to say, for me, it was a bit of a dud at the end. Statlander for me was happiness, but the rest was just like, once again, it proved nothing, solved nothing. It was just there. For you, Rick?
It was like you said, it was just there. I was really happy. I know I was in the chat. I was like, yeah, something good happened, guys, but you catch up. And it was Chris Statlander, and I guess it wasn't that great for you.
I thought it was great. But I think
I was looking for something else.
Because plus Andy came in to the show when Statlander had already been injured, so he hadn't been watching and seeing what she'd been doing. So he had no idea really who she was.
Yeah, for sure. But I was expecting Miro to win. I was expecting a turn from Trent, and none of that happened. So I was disappointed in that.
Okay,
for sure.
And Andy,
it was there. I mean, we come back and from commercial, and you see the setup, and I groaned. It honestly probably wasn't as bad as I was expecting.
Yeah, I'll give it that.
Yeah, and what I'll give them, I thought Miro looked vicious throughout almost all of it, which I was really hoping that at the end something was going to give, and he was, just say, I'm sick of all this crap.
I was hoping he was going to attack Skip. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I just wanted him just to beat everybody down. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. What I realized though is as the match progressed, we got away from all the video game stuff, and it just became like an all-out brawl fight.
Yeah.
And once I kind of looked at it that way, I'm like, okay, this isn't that bad.
Right.
Because they kind of got the video game shtick in early and then moved away from it. So yeah, it was there. Did it? You're saying, oh, it didn't really do anything. I'm hoping that this provides closure for this whole angle, and we can move on.
So. But it's not, because Trent's back now. It's going to be Trent and Miro.
Yeah. Oh no.
Yeah. Well, it's going to be. It's going to be, guys. Elio.
yeah, for me, it was just there. The one thing I really liked is Chris Statlander's return, and I just hope this is the end. No more video games. I mean, this whole thing's been terrible.
Can we say game over?
Ooh.
No?
Oh my. Now, this is what I'd like to say, and it's, on one hand, it's good to say this because it shows you the indication of how good of a show this all was, but it's also bad in this sense is I can think of 3 other matches that should have been the main event and not this. There were 3 other matches at least that were way better than this, more exciting, that could have been credible main events, and instead we had this teams that nobody's really caring about anymore doing match that is ridiculous with no setup.
This should have opened the show, honestly.
Yeah. Well, no, let's face it, though. The Christian Cage thing set a good tone for the night.
It did.
With this, we would have been like,
Yeah.
It should have been in the middle somewhere. You know what I mean? So, okay, overall, let's rate today's AEW show on our report card, featuring A as the top, meaning representing anywhere from 80 up, 80 plus being right at the top, F being at the very low spectrum. I'm going to start off with Elio. Elio, what is your report card on this week's AEW?
Dynamite! I'm going to go with an E-. I thought it was a good show.
Hey, Dynamite! Sorry.
You keep doing that, you're not going to hear my grade.
Okay, what was your grade?
Dynamite Tourette's or something.
What was your grade?
I give it an E-. I thought it was a good show.
Sorry, what minus? I'm not going to say it. I have shut up. Say it. What was it?
A-.
A-, got it. Okay. Andy.
I'm kind of torn between like a B and a B-.
Mm-hmm. You grumpy old bastard. But go on.
No. That's, you know what? No, I'll go B. I'll give it a B.
Okay.
Yeah.
Rick.
All right, I'm going to be the grumpy old bastard then. I'm going to go with a solid C+. I thought it was a good show, a little below average for me. I think it could have been better.
Well, you haven't watched it weekly like we have.
Listen, man, I'm watching as much wrestling as Elio. So but I think it was a solid C+ for sure.
All right.
For me.
Like I said, I've actually really enjoyed this match. This card. It had 4 legitimate, really strong matches and a couple weak ones. That is a rarity on AEW for us. It seems every second week where we get a passable good card, and then we get a shitty one, and then we get a good one, and then we get a terrible one. Wow, 2 weeks in a row, that was good. And I think this was better than last week's. Last week, I gave a B+. This week, I'm going to give an A-. I thought it was pretty solid for it was exciting. There was no parts of this where I was bored, where I was just like, oh, crud, I want to get through this, or, oh, how much more of this? Today, my only biggest things that cut off for me giving it an A is a poor placement of the camera garbage. In certain matches, it killed those matches. Showing us in the middle of the Omega Good Brothers thing, I mean, that's a high spot match with lots of shit going on. It's pretty hard to watch a tiny little box of it, and it just seemed that happened a lot in the show. There was really inappropriate. And there were other matches, I'm like, God, I wish they would put this in picture-in-picture. This would make more sense. So bad thing. No audio issues. Nice. But overall, I'm going to say we're probably going to rate this. We'll give it a B+ overall as our grade this week. Just because we said it was worth watching, and let's hope. Wouldn't it be nice to have 3 in a row, guys?
Yeah. Especially next week being the big Mania week and NXT Takeover week. Like, you need to shine. So you got to bring everything, because WWE is going to be bringing everything next week. So.
All right. So you know what? First of all, Rick, thank you for joining us again. It's always a pleasure to have you on the show.
Absolutely.
Great to hear your different insights, and it's great to have so many different views of what we're watching. Andy, good deep analysis this week. You too, Elio. Good job. So guys, I really enjoyed talking about this. And fans, we love watching wrestling. Sometimes it's great, sometimes it's not. But whatever way, we'll be here next week talking about it. Oh, don't show those guns, my friend. We're not on camera. The girls aren't going to be screaming. Anyways, fans, we want to thank you very much. And we look forward to talking to you next week. Elio, say goodnight to the good people.
Fans, we'll talk to y'all next week.